Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth and I am here today with some suggestions for the Eyre of September readathon that my friend Chris and I are hosting in September. So now, the first prompt, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail now. Please remember, I have not read all of these books. They were just some I pulled off my shelf. I will tell you which ones I will be reading as we go through them. But the first prompt is to read Jane Eyre. Well, obviously, I'm reading Jane Eyre, this copy. Now, I covered this spot up because when I took the sticker off of the Barnes & Noble copy, it left residue on my book, so it makes it ugly. So that's why I always do this. It's not because I'm trying to show my nails, because they're not pretty and painted and all that good stuff. But I have annotated a little bit in this, and I plan to do some more annotating. And yes, so this is my copy of Jane Eyre, and that's what I'm going to be reading. All right, now the next, and I'm going to show you books that read a book with a wicked stepmother vibe is the next prompt. And I have to get my notes out here. So the first one I have, that one doesn't fit that one. I have Harry Potter. This whole series will fit that because his aunt and uncle are horrible to him. So you could read any of the Harry Potter series. So, and it also fits another prompt. So we're going to move on. And now I'm not sure how this one fits it, but when I looked it up, it listed this one, the Assassin's Blade. This is the Throne of Glass novellas. And I actually read this one before I read Throne of Glass. But if you wanted to read Throne of Glass, they say it's okay to read Throne of Glass first before you read the Assassin's Blade. In fact, they put this one as reading this one, I believe, before you read Eyre of Fire, which would be, they put it as being read third. I didn't like Throne of Glass. I struggled with it until I read this one first. Once I read this one, then I enjoyed the series a lot more. But this is about Selena Sardathian, and these are the novellas that are put together. And this is just like the beginning. You learn who everybody is and kind of where she comes from. Okay, and I'm not sure, but I want to say that Wistress might have that kind of theme as well. I'm not sure. I started this, but I can't remember who she lives with. You might want to check into that before you start reading that one. All right, so the next one, and I've never read this one either. It listed Wives and Daughters as having a wicked stepmother vibe. Her father does remarry. So she gets along with her sister until they squabble. So that is another suggestion. Of course, her stepmother would be on her stepsister's side. And then I have My Plain Jane. And since this is set like Jane Eyre, I'm guessing that this has a wicked stepmother vibe. Any Cinderella retelling would fit that as well. So, I mean, that would be a possible. All right, so that's all that I have for that one. Boarding school setting. A book, read a book with a boarding school setting. I should get both of them out here. Read a book set in a boarding school. There we go. Okay, so they list, again, they list Harry Potter, So, you know, that's set at Hogwarts, and it's set up like a boarding school. So they also list the lightning thief, you know, because he goes to the camp. So my plain Jane would fit with that, because I'm sure she, you know, if it's following the Jane Eyre prompt, surely she goes to school. Yes. Okay. It's hard to know. Okay, they also list Charlotte Bronte's The Professor. I've never read this one either, but they listed Never Let Me Go. I do know it's about orphans, and they're not orphans. Yes, orphans. And they're in an exclusive boarding school. So I do know that. And this is by Kazuo Ishiguro. I know I probably butchered that name, and I'm sorry for that. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. They're in a boarding school. It's kind of like college, though, college level. So, and then the one I will be reading, this is a reread for me, is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. This is kind of like a dual timeline. And one timeline is told when the boarding school is actually in operation, and it's the School of Unwanted Girls. And then the other timeline is where this girl is trying to figure out what happened. I believe it's to her sister. I just hit my glasses. Sorry about that. But I loved it. So that's what I will be reading or rereading. The next prompt says, read a book involving a mental health issue. Okay, so I didn't do nonfiction. Now, if you wanted to read a nonfiction book, there are many books that you could read for those. I did fictional books. You could read The Catcher in the Rye. I've never read this. It's been on my TBR for some time now. But also, I have read this one. Sally Hepworth's The Soulmate. And this is where a couple buys a house that's overlooking this cliff where people who want to commit suicide go to jump. And the husband goes out several times and prevents it until one time he doesn't prevent it. Also, I've read this one, Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl. And I don't know which one of these I'm going to read. I'm either going to do a reread of Wuthering Heights, or I'm going to read Bad Luck and Trouble by Lee Child. All right, the next prompt, read from a book of poetry. I did not pull any poetry books down. You can go to a website called, I can't think of the website right now. It'll come to me in a minute, but I'll come back to that. Anyway, you can pull out any book and just read from, read a poem. You can read a couple of poems. If you want to read a whole book of poetry, you can do that. There's a lot of KU books you can get that offer poetry. Yes. You could also read My Plain Jane, if you haven't already used that as another prompt. Okay. Read a book set on a country estate. All right. I gotta move some of these. All right, here's another one by Kazuo Ishiguro, The Remains of the Day. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I can't say the middle name. Rebecca put a picture up here, by Daphne du Maurier. Is also set on a country estate. The Secret of Chimneys by Agatha Christie. The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie, which is actually Miss Marple, is set on a country estate. Mansfield Park is set on a country estate. And I am actually going to be, I'll put it up here, reading something on my Kindle, or I'll be listening to it. I'll put it up here. Death Comes to Pemberley. And this is about, it's by P.D. James, I think, is who wrote it. And it's sister who marries Mr. Wickham comes and tells them that Mr. Wickham has been murdered. So, yes. Now, nanny or governess? Let's see. Read the prompt. Read a book with a nanny or a governess. Okay. Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte, if you want to keep the Bronte theme going here. Ruth Ware's The Turn of the Key. This is about this girl, this lady goes and she's a nanny to, I believe it's twins. There's also The Royal Governess. This is about Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret Rose's governess. And it's supposed to be real good. It comes highly recommended. I believe it was Shelley Swearingen who I found out about it from. I would like to read The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden, if I can get it. I have it in my cart on Amazon. I will have put a picture up here. Okay. And it's about a governess. Read a book about best friends or read a romance. Okay. So, we know, if you haven't already used My Plain Jane, you can use that one. We have The One and Only Ivan. You could also read The Wives. These are the wives of military men, and they become almost like a family. If you haven't used The Lightning Thief or any of the books in this series, in Rick Riordan's series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, because Grover and Annabeth become his best friends. Any of the series of Harry Potter you could use, because Ron and Hermione become his best friends. The Outsiders, I'll put a picture up here. I don't have a copy of it, I don't think. Okay, now we're going to get into the romance. I haven't read these. I don't think I've read any of these. Yeah, I don't think I've read one, I think. But Catherine Sinner writes, as far as I know, clean romance. I've read another one of hers and it was clean. The Rom-Commers. Abby Jimenez, Yours Truly. And I have the newest Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. This has been on my TBR. It's on my TBR for this month. Christina Lauren, The Paradise Problem. Emily Henry, Funny Story. And I've been told that this next author is a clean romance writer too. Lynn Painter, Better Than the Movies. And Lynn Painter, The Love Wager. So, now, read a book predominantly involving the color red. I couldn't find any book that had the word red in the title. Now, I could use yours truly. The cover is almost entirely red. I could use the rom-commers. It's got red on it. I couldn't use any of those. Agatha Christie's, they do it with mirrors. Dreadful by Caitlin Rosakis. I don't know how you say that. I could use any of those. I also found this one. It would be stretching it. Bloodstains with Bronte by Catherine Bolger Hyde. Bloodstains are red. But I really don't know what that's about, so. And there could be a red room in there. I don't know. Okay. The next prompt says, read a Victorian era novel. I have beside me Pride and Prejudice. You could put that in there. Dracula and A Tale of Two Cities. Now there are several others I could have listed. The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. You know, Wuthering Heights. I could have held that one up again. Okay. Read a biography of Charlotte Bronte. Now I'm going to list some up here, but I only have 2. Okay. So I'll show you the 2 I have, and then I'll put some others up here. I have Elizabeth Gaskell's what she wrote, The Life of Charlotte Bronte. And then I have The Brontes, A Life in Letters by Juliet Barker. All right. I'll list some more up here. Charlotte Bronte, A Fiery Heart by Claire Harmon. And then Juliet Barker also wrote The Brontes. Lynn Reed Banks wrote Path to the Silent Country, Charlotte Bronte's Years of Fame. And then Dark Quartet, The Story of the Brontes by Lynn Reed Banks. So she wrote 2 different books. And The Secret Diaries of Charlotte Bronte by Siri James. Now, I don't know if you can get your hands on any of those, but my best guess would be to check Thrift Books, Better World Books, any of those, a Kindle, you know. All right, and the last prompt. Now, the Victorian era novel and the biography of Charlotte Bronte and this next one are all bonus prompts. Now, this one is Read a Novel by Elizabeth Gaskell. Well, we know about this one. So if you're reading this one, I just want to show it to you again. All right. Now, I only have 2 others. North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This will probably be the one I read. And then Wives and Daughters. Okay, everybody. That is all I have. If you have any questions, just send me a message. Post it down below. I'll be happy to answer it. If you have any questions about a prompt, just ask and I will try to respond just as quick as I can. Do your best guess. I mean, I looked on Goodreads for most of these and then used my best guess on some of them. And like the one I didn't even see on Goodreads, The Royal Governess, I just found it on my shelf and said, oh yeah, that one's got a governess in it. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know if you're going to be participating in this readathon, what you're going to be reading if you know already, or if you don't, that's fine. You've got a little while to prepare, and I hope these suggestions helped a little bit. And if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.